Hello, and welcome, my Gemini Collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Welcome to your work, career, vocation read. I am your reader, Mark Angelo, Lyons, Mal for short. Professional witch, professional intuitive, president of Drawing the Circle Productions since 1998. Author of Words of Grace from a Professional Witch, available on Kindle. The Archangel of Lyons, Mark Angelo Lyons, but you can call me Mal. Hi. Hey, my gems. Doing a 12-card spread. Actually, what's called a 3 levels of power spread for your life purpose, viewed as work, career, and vocation. There is a link in the description box by Carolyn Myss, MYSS, PhD. Going to be starting off with her archetype deck here. You can use the 3 levels of power, as she talks about in that lecture on the 3 levels of power, link in the description box, to look at many different areas of your life. In this case, bringing together your soul contract, which you came in to do in this life through these 3 different parts of really the same thing. There are chakras involved. There are tons of links in the description box explaining what all of this is about, but let's get down to business. Standard YouTube reading rules apply. As far as I'm concerned, it's a general read. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and certainly check your other signs. Your sun sign is going to get different info on your work, career, vocation than your moon, and as we go through the chakra aspect of all of this stuff, you might get a hint as to why that is. Other than that, both feet on the floor if you can, focus on your breath if you will. I will do the same to get you the clarity, guidance, and grace in a time where both magical and muggle are alike are really being challenged of what's going on in my life, what is my purpose, why am I here, and how do I make money, how do I survive, right? So let's get up in this gig, and if you'd like to book me for a personal reading, there's a video also in the description box, booking a reading with Mal, explaining how all of that goes down, and I do these work, career, vocation readings for clients all the time. So let's do this. Ready? All the decks that I read are always in the bottom of the description box. I always have to say that. Give credit where credit is due. Otherwise, let's just do this. Please take a nice deep breath. Ground and center. And here we go. I call upon the collective pantheons of angels, archangels, goddesses, gods, ascended masters of life purpose through work, career, and vocation, as well as the higher selves of all involved, 5th dimension and above, 8th chakra and above, for the Gemini collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Work, career, vocation, please. What is the 8th chakra dynamic? Right, the energy hovering above their head in their own 8th chakra, the home of the higher self, whatever they want to call it, the upper room. That is the lesson, the soul power being developed in their life purpose, work, career, vocation. Here, let's start with their work, their survival intuition. Let's move to their career, their creative intuition. And how about their calling, their visionary intuition? 3 levels of intuition, as well as 3 levels of power, and you already know what these are because they are in the title. We've got a nature child, alchemist, hedonist, which I am down for. I'm totally down for that. Familiar with all 3 of these archetypes within myself. I'll go through these one at a time, but these are really, if you think about it, the soul lessons over your head that are affecting every chakra, every energy system, not just your own, but other people's in your work, career, vocation. So let's start with your level of work. Work is really about lower 3 chakras, but this is the lesson you're learning in your work. How you survive in the world. The nature child archetype. Everybody has a child archetype. It is one of the 4 survival family of archetype. The child, the victim, the saboteur, the prostitute. Everybody has those. Not everybody, however, has the nature child, which is definitely a powerful sub-pattern, particularly on my channel. The shadow attribute is the stuff you don't want to look at, the stuff that needs to be healed, or if you're aware of it, you don't want anybody to know, and it's pretty toxic, the shadow, regardless of the archetype, but this one in particular, tendency to abuse animals, people, and the environment. You got to be in a lot of pain to do that kind of stuff. Inner child work, inner child work, inner child work. To get to that light attribute, friendship with animals, communication with nature spirits. I mean, I talk to my cats all day long. I talk to my plants outside. That's why my garden is as beautiful and verdant as it is, considering I don't have as much room as I used to in my last living location. I have a pot garden, which means everything is potted plants. But absolutely, I love spending time out on my deck, talking with the caterpillars that turn into monarch butterflies, feeding them. I mean, most of my plants out there are just for them. So, I totally can get this. Now, this is great in terms of having the innocence. The child archetype, regardless of subpattern, is about safety and innocence. So you can really feel connected to Mother Earth, right? A child archetype. Look at Earth as your mother. That connection, that relationship is really there for you in some way, which is really good for manifesting stuff in the physical that you need. Not always what you want, but what you need. In your career, heart, throat, third eye, crown dynamic, this is what lights you up. This is your hunger, your thirst, your passion. The Alchemist, one of the few archetypes that share families. It is both a wisdom and a divine family archetype, and I think you'll see why. The shadow attribute, misuse of power and knowledge that comes through spiritual practice. Are you remote viewing somebody when you're not supposed to? I mean, that's a little endless, right? I mean, it's not always about sticking, candles, pins and black candles at midnight, but you know what I'm saying. It's like we can all try and use our spiritual practice to try and get what we want, regardless of if there's integrity involved there. It's just part of what the spiritual ego goes through. Of course, the ego learns spiritual language as we do and uses it against us, right? It's just how it is, coming from a place of fear. So don't worry if you do that. That's just something, that's the lesson, right? Led to gold. The light attribute, transformation of base motives and goals into golden wisdom. In other words, saying my career isn't just about me getting what I want. It's about garnering wisdom from experience, right? It's the emotional experience, heart, throat, third eye, crown in your career that lights you up. That's why if you're doing something that you hate, maybe you started liking it, but there's an opportunity here to say, okay, do I have to totally change my career, or do I have to really start mining the wisdom, the golden wisdom that I've gotten from my career, that I always take with me, that can't be, no one can steal your hard-won wisdom. So if you're dealing with a lot of lead, a lot of toxicity in your career, certainly use your spiritual practices to uplift you, to heal you, to even maybe do shadow work. But that very shadow work, which is usually heart, throat, third eye, crown, let's be clear, the interior world, the inside world is where shadow work usually goes down, then your ability to really transform, right? Transformation of base motives and goals. What are base motives and goals? Got to pay my bills. I want to be successful. Everybody fucking wants that, right? Food, clothing, shelter. To say that this is part of my soul's journey here in terms of my life purpose of doing this honorably with wisdom and spirituality. Totally makes sense. But throat chakra, you got to choose it, right? That's the free will part. Love this. This is the spiritual hedonist in the 8th chakra. The hedonist archetype, a wild family archetype, because you never know what you're going to get with a hedonist. The shadow attribute pursues pleasure to the detriment of health, indulges at the expense of others. We've all done it. I'm 53 years old. I lived through the 80s, darling. Of course, I have the hedonist archetype in its shadow, but that's something that is not sustainable. Now, you put that in the lower 3 chakras, it was a totally different story. In terms of a calling, this is very high. This is like, I don't want to say getting high on life or getting high on God. That's a little bit much. But it is that thing, like mystical power here, inspires creative energy to embrace the good things in life, celebrates the beauty in yourself, in yourself, in your spirit, in your soul, what you've learned, what you've survived, right? Because you are an eternal being. I mean, you are an eternal soul. The soul takes on bodies and roles and comes down here into the horizontal plane to learn things, to certainly have experiences and gain wisdom from it, developing the divine powers, which is what archetypes are all about. So a nature child, alchemist, hedonist, this looks like it could be a lot of fun for you. So let's keep going. That's the most we're gonna. That's the most explanation. Those 3 cards, because it's the skeleton of the reading. All right, let's get Heart, Third Eye Crown dynamic here. Daughters of the Moon Tarot. I love this deck. Breathe. As I call upon my goddesses of air, the sign of Gemini, powers of the East, the mind, mutable air. Gemini, please, 3 cards in clarity for the Gemini collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading in their work, career, vocation. We'll do them face up. That nature child in the 8th in their work, what's going on? Heart, third eye, crown or eye, 4 of cups. The key word sorrow, we know the 4 of cups. Right? Sometimes this is envisioned, this is drawn as the 5 of cups, where you have 4 cups standing, 4 cups spilled, 1 cup standing. This is the opposite. Well, 3 cups, I should say, spilled, 1 cup standing behind. But what I love about the artwork on this card is, yes, even the moon is crying along with her, but it is at the water's edge. There is this ebb and flow. Now, of course, the nature child could be very, very disappointed. The emotional guidance scale, if we're going to go Abraham Hicks, if you're familiar, on this would be at its highest point, meh, right, like bored, all the way down to sorrow and depression. So that's like half of the emotional guidance scale here. It doesn't have the tumult of the 5 of cups. In this deck is the storm. No, this is something much more internal. Obviously, heart, third eye, crown. A heart chakra thing here. So if you are a nature child and you are just despairing at what's going on ecologically on the planet, I can understand that, right? We can all do the best that we can, you know, recycling and repurposing and donating to causes and all of that. But if in terms of the work that you do in the world, that it's something that's harming nature, that's not going to sit well with you. So let's look at your career. Heart, third eye, crown, please. My goddesses of air. They've got the Alchemist. This might be their leverage in this reading, and sure enough, I bet it is. They got the Aries card. Doesn't mean the Gemini that you're an Aries. This is about first house, self. This is about you working on yourself. Aries, cardinal fire, higher selfishness, not necessarily the toxic selfishness of a child, childish selfishness, but childlike, I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to fan my own flame. I'm going to do my own alchemy. I'm going to see what I've gained from this situation. This would be the King of Wands in the traditional tarot. Calafia, really an Amazon goddess of indigenous California, which I think is pretty kick-ass for starters, right? Very much like a Wonder Woman card going on here. Wonder Woman of California. This is a very, very powerful thing. This is inspiration. This is charging forward. This is, I want to say motivation, and maybe it is. Motivation usually comes from fear. Inspiration usually comes from love. Oh, I want to create my reality. Inspiration, oh, fuck, I got to pay my bills. That's motivation, right? So if there is really something that has set you on fire that's going on, it's making you kind of bummed out about your work in terms of its relationship with ecology or nature or animals or anything like that, I get it. You're probably fired up and willing to do the internal work. Heart, third eye, crown, this whole center column, the second level of power, is all about that, about you really being set on fire in a good way, right? And saying, well, I'm gonna maybe strike out on my own. I'm gonna take what I've learned, and I'm gonna do something. We don't know what that is yet. That's the next 3 cards. But let's get on the hedonist here. This is good. This is good. This is almost feels like a social justice kind of vibe going on here, which doesn't shock me for a Gemini. Breathe. All right, my goddesses, they got this hedonist, right? They just want to enjoy. Their calling is about seeing the beauty and celebrating, you know, the good things in life. Can they really embrace their own beauty and celebrate that in this hedonist, in their calling? 8th chakra, what's going on? Heart, throat, third eye, crown there. All right, another court card. Again, when they're in the inner, this is probably more about you, but certainly if you have the planet, the sign, I should say, cardinal earth, Capricorn, Passoe, the buffalo woman, the queen, the crone of pentacles, which would be the king of pentacles in the tarot. And this is hard work. This is boundaries. This is slow and steady wins the race. This is the mountain goat, hoof by hoof, climbing up the mountain, highest potential. I mean, 10th house energy, I mean, as much as Capricorn is a tricky energy ruled by Saturn, it is the limits that make us grow, right? It's like gardening. You're just not going to scatter seeds everywhere, right? And you put them in rows. I'm putting it in they're giving it to me in a nature context here for you. So there has been a natural progression here, but one that perhaps, if you can get up into that 8th chakra, so to speak, to really embrace the good things that you have learned, right? Because there's nothing to regret from your past if you've learned from it. And from the soul's perspective, that's absolutely 100% accurate 100% of the time. The personality doesn't like it, and the ego pretty much outright hates it if it's not getting what it wants. So trust me, I am well aware. As high vibrational and enlightened as I may be or think I am, it does not mean that I do not have the everyday human experiences like everybody else of disappointment, right? I'm not getting what I want, but we're always getting what we need somehow. It's just, can we fly high enough to see it? And then, odd way to say this, take advantage of it. Take advantage, positive advantage, which only you can do for yourself here. It's a real choice to alchemize. What have you really gained from this experience? All right, lower 3 chakras. This is the physical stuff. From the outside looking in at you, you from the inside looking out at something in the physical. Oftentimes it is both. Lower 3 chakras, and this is your relationships, root chakra, tribal dynamics, groups. Not just your family tribe, your political affiliation, right? The town you live in, your neighborhood, your circle of friends, all of that stuff. 2nd chakra, one-on-one relationships with other people, one-on-one, but also your relationship with money, which is why this is important in this spread. And your solar plexus, your relationship to yourself, your honor code, your integrity, your self-esteem. Breathe. Yeah, Gemini's trapped by tribal dictate really sucks because they want to be free spirits and do their own thing. So I call upon my gods of air, the sign of Gemini, powers of the East. Please, my beloved gods, 3 cards in clarity. For the Gemini collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading. What's going on in their lower 3 chakra dynamics? They've got the nature child in the 8th, in their first level of power, with sorrow, 4 of cups on the inner. What's going on lower 3 chakra dynamic, inner, outer, and or both? Wheel of Fortune, I think your time is up here at this place of your work. I think you know it. The Wheel of Fortune is certainly a divine timing card. Not that it's the card of the world or the universe. It's just saying that the wheel has turned. There are things going on in the physical world that are scheduled. The divine plan, the fates. Fate is what you cannot change. Destiny is what comes when you take the hero's journey and alchemize fate into destiny. You either suffer your fate or manifest your destiny. So you could say, this is a perfect storm, so to speak. What's going on here is setting you up to maybe bust a move in your own career. Let's look in their career. They got that Alchemist. God, if they can take all of the negativity, I don't like using that word, all the lead, all the toxicity of their work, and really do the inner work here in some way, shapes, probably more than one way, shape, or form, to really transform that for themselves with the Alchemist. What's their career looking like? Lower 3 chakras, 5 of cups. So you got the 4 of cups on the inner in your work, and it's absolutely affecting your career. Particularly with the mythic tarot. I say this all the time with this card. The myth of Eros and Psyche. It's a Greek myth. Eros, son of Aries and Aphrodite. Psyche, long story, they get married. She doesn't know what he looks like even after they're married. One night she cops a look at him with a lamp, drop of hot oil hits his thigh, he wakes up, how dare you, and he takes off. Something is revealed, which has an emotional upset. This is the card of the storm, right, from the Four of Cups in the Daughters of the Moon. So this is affecting you. This is affecting your career. It's very possible that your work and your career are the same thing, which happens for a lot of people. Some people are artists in their career, but they work other stuff so that they can do their art. This feels like a follow-through. There's something going on in your workaday world where what is it? It's got to be a strange twist of fate telling me that heaven can wait. I don't know how much longer it can wait, though. With that Five of Cups going on for you, be careful of taking things personally. This is happening for you, not to you. But I could see how a Gemini could see that both ways. Which wolf do you feed? Let's look at this. The Hedonist, which is, you know, very Gemini, very much wanting to see the beauty in all things and experience the many different the ways of thinking and all of that. But I'm going to say now, with this on the table, your boundaries are in place, heart, throat, third eye, crown. You probably are not letting on too much what's going on in your spiritual service, your vocation, your calling. My gods, they got the Hedonist in the 8th, Capricorn, heart, throat, third eye, crown. What's lower 3 chakras? Root, sacrum, solar plexus. Absolutely. Page of Cups in a non-romantic reading. It's not about an offer of love. It is about self-reflection, a seed of love, a seed of emotion. Narcissus, where the root of the word narcissist, but the Greek myth is a little bit different, considering narcissists can't see their reflections like vampires. Narcissus certainly could, fell in love with his own face. Well, he was pretty. Dated him. It was a long time ago. Oh, the Bronze Age, right? So inner reflection. Right now, I'm going to say, you still got 3 more cards coming. The Healing Mantra deck. That's going to really help with this, particularly for an air sign. Some new thoughts to play with and tinker with. That your leverage certainly is in the Alchemist in your career. For you to really say, okay, I'm really upset about what's going on in my career and my work right now. So I've got to default to my calling, to get up into a higher vibe here, not emotionally bypassing the emotional stuff, but to do the hero's journey through this, because there's so much you have learned from this. The time of self-reflection, of quiet, of taking on perhaps the limitations that have been presented to you by the universe as part of a larger plan, so that, you know, it's going to inspire your creative energy, your visionary intuition, to embrace the good things in life. And it's often when we don't have what we want that we get what we need. But this is also very much on a spiritual level. I'm not kidding. It's like you have learned major lessons through this. Is it time for you to move on? You have free will, but you're going to have to really be selfish in a healthy way. Higher selfish, healthy selfish here, to really get what is this doing for the development of my soul. And you're going to have to feel or deal, if you are not the one having these Five of Cups emotions, then it's definitely the people around you, or maybe in your career field itself, right? Look what happened with restaurants, right? Things are bouncing out, but upset. And it's minor arcana. There's no major arcana in this spread, so this is all passable. These are essentially timeless reads, I'm realizing, once you start bringing archetypes into it. Timeless read, but I do them for 2-month periods, because this stuff usually takes time. All right, last 3 cards down. The Healing Mantra deck by Matt Kahn, the Ascended Masters. These mantras are fun to play with. I'll show you what I mean when they're all on the table. Please take a nice deep breath. And there is some, I think one of the houses in my condo development is getting ready for new tenants, because I hear I hear stuff going on outside my door. Sounds like vacuums and carpet cleaning and stuff like that. Please take a nice deep breath. There's so many rentals here. I own, as I call upon my Ascended Masters, the Ascended Masters of life purpose through the archetypal lenses of work, career, and vocation. 3 levels of power. Please, what are the 3 healing mantras for the Gemini collective? Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Not all about them making money here. I can see that, but they need to. Everybody does. But that innocence of the nature child in their work, it might be very disillusioned. Maybe want to burn the village down. That 4 of Cups on the inner, that sorrow, right? Going from depression to meh, it's still a rather large range. But Wheel of Fortune, they really need to know that this is happening for the evolution of their soul, maybe even for the evolution of their work. What's their perfect healing mantra there? Receiving elation. I am born of infinite joy. We'll talk about that. Let's get all 3 down, because that child in you, the nature child, used to love this. Used to love this, right? I am born of infinite joy. And this is not enjoyable anymore. You know, like animal testing or something like that. It's just like record scratch. Unless you don't know what a record is. Most of the people on my channel, I see the age demographics. You know what an LP is. Whoop. My Ascended Masters, the Alchemist, right? It does feel like this is where their leverage begins, getting them up into that 8th chakra. The Alchemist here, obviously, about lead to gold, doing it for themselves, sisters, brothers, doing it for themselves, the internal work, that Aries card, Cardinal Fire, with the 5 of Cups, maybe as hopefully more of a response rather than a reaction to the emotional upset going on in their career. What's their mantra? Resolving anger. Conflict reminds me when I need more space for myself. Yeah, I'd say that would be true with the Aries here. You're probably ready to burn down the career, burn down the industry, burn down your work. So you need space, right? Give yourself a timeout. It's worth it to do the self-care right now, to disconnect at least from social media involving work, right? Boundaries. Carve out time for yourself to really enjoy the good things in life that you already have, particularly the wisdom. There is, now I'm a Virgo, so maybe this is just a Virgo thing. But when I look back and I say, you know, that really sucked, but now I get why it couldn't have happened any other way, right? I can be angry about it. You don't have to like the divine plan. I'm sick of people saying, oh, it's the divine plan, you have to embrace it. Sure. But you also have to embrace this fucking sucks. Wandering through the desert for 40 years, I'm sure it was no fun for Moses every single day. I'll give you a little Old Testament context there. Let's look. Their vocation here. This feels like where their light really shines, right? They need to move literally from literal to personal to symbolic, from the physical to the mental, emotional, do that work, take space for themselves to get up in that 8th chakra with that hedonist, with that Capricorn. Pessoa, white buffalo woman. I mean, that is a card of prosperity. It's the mountain, right? It's just so powerful, so strong, so stable. Love Capricorn energy, though it slow and steady wins the race. What's going on there with that Page of Cups, that reflection? Honoring adversity. A fire reveals a path of renewed direction once the burning is complete. You are going through a transformation here that I think as you get up into that 8th chakra, that hedonist, really taking the wisdom, what you've learned from this stuff, giving yourself space, your joy is going to return, but you have to get your whole industry, it feels like. The best that you can do right now is the spiritual work along with the psychological, the mental, emotional work, the shadow work, whatever you want to call that, because there is conflict. And why wouldn't there be conflict? 4 of Cups on the inner in your work, 5 of Cups on the outer in your career, and this real calling to go inside, perhaps even set new boundaries, right? Climb the mountain, which is not easy, but you see it from a higher place, right? Really alchemizing from the base motives of wanting to get ahead and wanting to pay my bills, and really alchemizing it into some golden wisdom. What have you learned? And I just don't mean intellectually. I mean through experience. Knowledge plus experience equals wisdom, right? You did not know as much as you knew when you started this job, whatever this is, related to the career that you do. And if they are 2 separate things, obviously an upset in your work may absolutely upset what's going on in your career if that's how you make your money, like an artist doing what they need to do so that they can do their work, their passion. So just to put these mantras together, if you read them left to right here, receiving elation, resolving anger, and honoring adversity. Now, just that one, honoring adversity, to say, you know what? This sucks. From even the highest point of view, these are adverse conditions. But I don't see a path through yet because the fire isn't burning, right? A fire isn't done burning. A fire reveals a path of renewed direction once the burning is complete. So if you want to receive elation, you got to resolve the anger by conflict reminding you when you need more space for yourself, different than time for yourself. Space. It is leave me alone, and I'm certainly seeing that available here at the top of the mountain with Pessoa, the Buffalo Woman, through self-reflection. It doesn't cost a dime, it just takes time and space. Move this the other way, incarnate it from the hedonist, the alchemist, down into the nature child. The fire reveals a path of new direction once the burning is complete. Conflict reminds me when I need more space for myself because I am born of infinite joy. This is inner child work if you want to go that way, because if your child doesn't feel safe. The child archetype, regardless of sub-pattern, is about safety and innocence, right? Childish, childlike. There's the spectrum. Pee Wee Herman, Dalai Lama, we're all somewhere in the middle, hoping to lean a little bit more towards his holiness. So let me put this together for you. Please take a nice deep breath. As I call upon my collective pantheons of the divine to please bless the Gemini collective sun, moon, rising, Venus signs everywhere, not just watching this video, receiving this reading, that they may receive all that they need in their work, career, vocation to fulfill their life purpose, to bring it into alignment, at least for a 2-month period when they are watching this, timeless or otherwise, that in their work they can really experience their friendships with animals and communication with animal spirits that remind them that they are born of infinite joy, as is all soul and spirit, transforming base motives and goals into golden wisdom, taking the space that they need, resolving the anger, conflict, or reminding them when they need more space for themselves, so that in their vocation they can inspire the creative energy to create the new out of whatever's upsetting here, and embrace the good things in life, celebrating the beauty in themselves by taking the time and space, setting the boundaries for themselves spiritually so that they can do the reflection, understanding that a fire reveals a path of renewed direction once the burning is complete. And if the burning's not complete, then all they have to do is wait. All they have to do is be patient, which is not easy for a nature child. But if the hedonist is enjoying the journey, celebrating the beauty in themselves and the good things in life that they do have, and may they do that lickety-damn split, so that as they heal, grow, learn, become, and evolve, and do what they came here to do in this lifetime, we all heal, learn, grow, and evolve, and do what we're all supposed to do here in this lifetime, for the well-being of all, with harm to none. As I will it, so let it be done. So would it be. So it is. That's a work, career, vocation read. Want a personal one? You know how to do it. Link in the description box. Want to read my book, Words of Grace? That's in the description box too. Did you like the video? Then like it. Do you want more? Then subscribe. Do you feel like commenting? Please do. What's your work, right? 1 or 2 words. What is your work, career, vocation, right? Because I know I can name 5 people. I won't. I can name 5 people that aren't even clients, that are just friends and family of mine that are going through this in a different way. And certainly the Geminis have the opportunity to collect the information and do something completely unique with immutable air signs that they are. So wishing you all the very best and the very blessed in your work, career, vocation, my beloved gems. Stay outrageous. Stay truly, truly, truly outrageous. Hail. Farewell, and blessed, blessed be.